Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, here to break down everything going on right now around Dak Prescott amid various different reports about his potential contract talks with the Dallas Cowboys. So first, the overview, right? Today marks the opening of the franchise tag window, when players can tag players they don't want to allow to hit free agency. Now, Dak Prescott certainly fits that particular mold. However, very important note here. The Cowboys will not be tagging Dak Prescott today. There's really no need to. You have until March 9th to do that. You always want to wait until the last second. And oh, by the way, technically speaking, although it'll be easy to make the money, the Cowboys do not have the salary cap space as we sit. There are also reports that the Cowboys are hopeful about getting a deal done, and that talks have resumed in some capacity, which we'll get into here more in depth in just a second. First, I want to go over the overview of the timeline here of what's going on, right? March 9th is the deadline to use the franchise tag. That is deadline number one to keep in mind for the Cowboys. You got to tag Dak or pay Dak by that point. Deadline number two is March 15th. That is when the start of NFL free agency begins. You have until March 15th to get that deal done, or you're going to have less money to play with in free agency. April 29th is the start of the NFL draft. If you haven't paid Dak by then, you got to at least consider looking at a quarterback in round one. And then come mid-July, the exact date not yet known, is the deadline for extended players on the tag, or players on the tag to be extended. So that's worst case, you have to have a deal by then. Probably somewhere between March 15th, April 29th, you desperately want that deal done. Now, where things get a little bit complicated again is the injury timeline for Dak Prescott. We are now just beginning the opening of that alleged 4 to 6 month recovery timetable from his broken ankle. There was the second surgery, put him down at least probably a week or two. So you're looking between February, April, he's going to be fully recovered by then. You might not know just how healthy Dak is by the time free agency opens, because that's how rehab ends up going. But you probably have a good feel, and by all the reports outside of one, literally only one, everything seems to be Dak is recovering well for the Cowboys, or at least is on path. Now, we'll break down the reports about potential contract talks, but I want to remind everybody that the vast majority of you actually don't have your notifications set to all. You are not part of the Noti gang here on the Cowboys Report. When you first subscribe, notifications default to personalized. So click that bell. You're already subscribed, but click it again and change it from personalized to all. That way you won't miss out on a single video here on the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Dak contract talks then. Todd Archer reports there have been discussions, if not actual negotiations, between Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, or at least the respective sides. Now, the Cowboys, as we've made very clear many a time before, their best move is to get a deal done before free agency. And the Cowboys are saying, or at least leaking, I should say, we're hopeful about getting a deal done. We want to pay Dak Prescott, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? This all sounds very familiar, and I've joked many a time on Twitter about just reposting a video from last year and seeing if anyone notices, but I don't think they would, because the exact same things we said this time last year and kind of the year before that are still true. We've heard all of this before. The Cowboys believe in Dak Prescott. They want to pay Dak Prescott. They're hopeful about a deal getting done, and the two sides never really got any closer in terms of actually getting a deal done. The time to do it was years ago in reality, but you still have to make your decision. If you're the Cowboys, you need to know where you stand at quarterback. You have a top 10 pick. The longer you wait, the more expensive it will continue to become. That is how quarterback contracts work unless you're Carson Wentz. Longer you wait, the more expensive it is. Frankly, it's time, guys. It is time to either option A through Q, pay Dak. And then the one after that, you should probably look into trading Dak or freeing Dak altogether, because you don't want to have him play on the franchise tag for a second straight year. That is not conducive to a good salary cap, because there's no flexibility there. It would be very ironic to me if the Cowboys make a big deal about, we got to have the salary cap space, and yet pigeonhole themselves into paying Dak Prescott a ridiculous cap hit each year. So what do you think? By the time we get to March 9th, will the Cowboys tag Dak Prescott, at least for the time being, hypothetically, right? That's the pinned question on today's video. So to get the ad break, scroll on down, get your votes in. Y for yes or N for no. Some other reports here around the Cowboys and Dak Prescott contract-wise, right? Mike Fisher says the Cowboys are opening talks and have opened talks with Dak Prescott. Jane Slater says the same thing, adds some more details, kind of. Talks haven't been meaningful, but the tone of the conversations feel more productive. Okay, I guess that's fine. Deadlines make deals, right? Something that has been said for a long time around the Cowboys, and yet there hasn't been a deal yet for Dak Prescott. There was also a report, by the way, this morning from Jeff Darlington of ESPN, who had this to say. Speaking with people on both sides of this thing, it does not sound as if any progress has been made in a long-term extension for Dak Prescott. While this is the beginning of the process for this year, it also still feels like we have a very long way to go. I'm inclined to believe that for a couple different reasons. A, contract talks can go from not close to done very, very quickly. That's what happened with, frankly, both Amari Cooper and specifically DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, there were trade whispers around Tank, and then boom, he got signed just like that because the Cowboys wanted to get that deal done. And, on top of that, I do wonder if Steven's going to go full Steven again and go, what do you mean the contract went up by this much, even though it's very obvious that was going to happen? Again, I'll make this point again because it's important. You should pay Dak Prescott. The guy we've seen in his time in the NFL the past few years is a top 10 quarterback. You could argue top 5 quarterback. Regardless, you pay that guy. You're paying a premium for a top-tier quarterback because that is how the market works. You don't want to skimp out on the quarterback position because that's how you end up being the Chicago Bears where, yeah, maybe you're around 500, but you got no chance of actually making a deep playoff push. And I want to emphasize this too. The cost is going to be expensive. Dak, the franchise tag this year for Dak checks in just under $37.7 million. I rounded up. So at minimum, you're going to have to offer Dak that per year. He's not settling for less than 38 when he's going to get more if he hits the open market and is already going to make almost 38 this year. Because guess what happens if Dak gets tagged again? Next year, he hits the open market. No one's going to pay Dak Prescott $54 million for 1 year. Nobody will. But he could get like $10 million less than that on the open market if if Carson Wentz sucks for the Colts, if the Bears don't have a quarterback yet, if the Patriots, Niners are still searching. There's going to be a ton of teams in the market. So I want to emphasize this, guys. The contract for Dak Prescott is going to be expensive, okay? We'll get into some more potential exact details here in a second. Before we do, I hope everyone out there is staying safe. And if you're not, make sure you have a new Cowboys face mask. A lot of these face coverings right now, folks, are up to 75% off. They've got a brand new mega sale going on right now over with our friends at Fanatics. So head over to chatsports.com/CowboysMask. I'll make sure that link gets put in the comments and in the description. So all you guys got to do is click and go shop. Find yourself a Cowboys face mask today. Tons of different options, styles, colors, from 2-packs, individual ones, to 4-packs as well. Up to 75% off. You can get like a 3-pack for $6.50. It's a fantastic deal. Chatsports.com/CowboysMask. All right, the money side of it, right? And I've mentioned this before, but I know that not you guys. I'm going to send this to when people get upset about the money involved for Dak. The cost of a top-tier quarterback is expensive, and it goes up every single year. If the Cowboys had paid Dak after the 2019 season, he wouldn't even be on this list. That's how many quarterbacks have gotten paid different massive amounts of contracts. Now, yes, one of those guys has already been traded in Jared Goff, but you're looking at the Deshaun Watson deal. If you're Todd France, if you're Dak Prescott, there's no reason for you to take less than Deshaun Watson if the ankle is healthy. Because guess what? Josh Allen's going to get more than that. That's how contracts work. Guys, the quarterback market, it only goes up. And with an NFL TV deal that's set to be potentially doubled what it previously was, it's going to skyrocket. I mean, legitimately, you could see a doubling of the salary cap in the not-too-distant future. All of a sudden, paying your quarterback $40 or $45 million? Well, that doesn't seem too bad when the salary cap is almost $400 or $300. It's a lot of money. The Dak deal, folks, is going to be expensive. That is why Todd France and Dak's camp wanted a 3-year deal and then wanted a 4-year deal. And that makes things a little bit interesting in terms of what Dak might ask for next. We will get to that here in just a second, but as a reminder, make sure you guys are subscribed. And while you guys are making sure you're subscribed, are the Cowboys going to pay Dak this year? Simple question. 1 for yes, 0 for no. And when I say pay, I mean long-term deal, not just tagging him. That's not paying your quarterback, right? So will the Cowboys pay Dak? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Before we get into my proposed contract here, I do wonder what the Cowboys and Dak are going to try to do in terms of years. Because as we know last year, the Cowboys wanted a 5-year deal to make the money make more sense on the back end, but just add a fake year. It's not that hard. Dak wanted a 4-year deal. But now we're a year later. So I wonder, are the Cowboys going to be more open to a 4-year deal now since you had 1 year at like $31 million? Maybe, maybe not. Could Dak and his camp, meanwhile, want a 3-year deal to still cash in at that same time frame? I hope 4-year is where they end up settling. And if you want to go Todd Archer style of adding some fake years on the back end, cool. Here is a contract proposal I've put together that, frankly, before you get mad at me, I actually think favors the Cowboys. I think this is Dak taking a little bit less than what he could demand. 4 years, $157 million in total money. The average per year is $39.25, just barely beats out Deshaun Watson. Significant bump, by the way, in the guaranteed money, $130 million. However, if you look at the guaranteed money as a percentage of the total money, checks in around 83%, it's still less than the Carson Wentz side. Not even the highest guaranteed contract in NFL history. So that is actually not that unrealistic for the Cowboys. I could see Dak going for like, nah, give me 40, or you know what? There is no deal unless it's 3 years fully guaranteed, Kirk Cousins style, because I'm going to sit free agency in the very near future. At some level, folks, because Todd France and Stephen Jones do not like each other, and we can assign blame however we want, I do really wonder if in order for a Dak and Cowboys deal to get done, if it's going to take one or both of the powers that be stepping in. Maybe it requires Dak to step up and say, you know what, Todd, just get the deal done. I'm tired of this. Or I wonder if it's going to require Jerry Jones to overrule Steven, since Steven runs the money side of things now, to step in and say, hey, we're going to get this deal done. I don't know if it happens this year. I desperately want it to. It's in the best interest of the Cowboys organization. Regardless of what happens with Dak Prescott, whatever the reports are as they move forward, we will keep you guys updated on everything going on around the Dallas Cowboys. So if you want to stay updated, hit that big red button and subscribe today.